My name is Jen Hardy. I'm the University Timetabler at Heriot-Watt based in our Edinburgh campus. We have 5 different campuses which I'm responsible for ensuring that the teaching timetable is delivered for each of these campuses. So Scientia Connect was actually a request from our University Secretary, Anne-Marie Dalton. She was very keen, as we were, to see the link between our student record system and our timetabling system. And one of the benefits was not only the accurate data and the removal of a manual process, but the importing of our student information. So we're now able to pull down student information and the relative modules that students are enrolled on. We don't use that yet, but what we will be using that for is to facilitate individual student timetables. So before Connect, it was a manual process that we had to go through to update all programmes, their modules and their relationships, whether they were mandatory or optional. And that was very manual intensive at certain periods of the year. So that was a case of going into 5 different databases for each one of our campuses and updating the relevant information. So you can imagine we've got hundreds of courses, hundreds of programmes and all their relationships. So it was entirely manual intensive as well as open to data errors. The Connect portal we access through a web browser, and it allows us to manually run imports. What we do in the portal is it's set up as a scheduled task every evening. We import data from Banner to each of our actual 10 databases. So we have 5 databases, one for the current year and one for the next year. So we import all that information in, and then we can analyse that in the portal. We can always analyse it in Syllabus Plus. Using groups, we can see what information maybe needs to be deleted, what information has changed, what information is to be added. And that's incredibly useful. But the portal also allows us to do manual imports. So if we know we're expecting something and we can't wait for the automatic import, we can run particular parts of that import and just bring in certain information for certain databases. So the flexibility that the portal gives us is super. So one of the benefits that I didn't expect was that our data quality in Banner in our student record systems would be improved by bringing this information in. There are certain triggers and certain checks that Connect does before it brings the data in, and we're presented with basically an error list of data that's not matching that and won't be brought in. We can then go back to schools and say, this data is not set up correctly in Banner. They then update the data, we can bring it in, but it also has that knock-on effect of Banner data is correct. And that's been a surprising but very welcome benefit of Connect, yeah. It's an excellent product. The Connect product is excellent. It does what it says on the tin. It imports data from one format, from one source, and brings it in another format into another source. And it does that incredibly well. It has the built-in advantage of the portal where we can manage errors. We can go into the portal and it lists each data error and what's wrong with it. So for example, if it's trying to bring in a programme of study relationship to an optional module, that optional module, if it's not in Syllabus Plus already, it will tell us that in the error log, and that's incredibly useful. So we can data track it back to Banner, fix it and re-import it. So that's been incredibly useful. We've gone through a couple of iterations. Initially, when the setup was done, we had 5 different solutions that facilitated our 5 different campuses. And I would say probably about halfway through we realised, and Scientia consultants realised, that it would perhaps be better to have one solution that then was populated with the variables from each campus. And that seems to work an awful lot better for support and for ongoing maintenance. So it's just one solution we have to update, and everybody knows what's happening with that solution. It's just the different databases that it's pointing to. So yeah, that works particularly well for us. As part of the consultancy process, and one of my recommendations would be to take as much consultancy as you can in the initial setup. That is key, and the more planning and the more time you can spend with your consultant, you will inevitably get a better solution at the end of everything. A key process in that is mapping your data fields, so mapping in your student record system what a particular field in there will be and what that will relate to in Syllabus Plus. And there's certain key information you can bring in, and there's certain key fields in Syllabus Plus. But there are also the user text fields, and we make quite a good use of that to bring in bespoke information that's just particular to Heriot-Watt University. We can populate those user text fields and do additional filtering and additional reporting on those fields, which we find very useful.